Well, my name is Peter Mutabazi, and as you can tell, my accent is from North Carolina. So if you came to Charlotte, this is how we speak. But really, I'm from Uganda. My dad is from Rwanda, and my mom is from Uganda. But born and raised in Uganda. Truly enjoy. I work for World Vision, and I get to travel over the world, truly telling on how the kindness of one stranger changed my life, and how you can be that stranger to someone else that really needs that stranger. And it's a joy for me to be Rainy, who's my colleague here, and we are really blessed that you could give us an opportunity to tell our story. You know, I was a little bit emotional at the last song that you sang. You know, like I think for me, it should be a motto for your church. You know, the things that I get to travel every week. I'm in a different church, but just being at your church and just watching people come in, just really unique place, and also meeting your pastor and his family. Just his love for others is absolutely tremendous, and we're grateful for that. And I'm really honored that I can be in this place today. I'm going to share my story. It's going to be a little bit emotional, but just bear with me today. I speak 7 languages, so English is my 4th language, so I don't speak it quite well. So if I'm rude today, here's what you can do. You throw your iPhone at me, and Pastor Keith and his wife are traveling to Tanzania, and there are some youth that could use that phone that you throw at me. So truly a joy. And as I share my story, I want you to travel with me to Tanzania. You know, I've been to Tanzania. We share the same lake, so we have the same culture, the same needs as well. So as I share my story, please travel with me to the kids and families in Tanzania. Well, so when I came to the United States, my first day, the family that reinvited me, they took me for lunch, and as I went to the restaurant, there was so much food that they gave me. So as I was cleaning my plate with my fingers, they're like, "Do you want more?" I said, "I can have more," and they gave me more, and I ate. But as I was eating, I noticed that there were so many plates that were passing by with food on top of them. So I said, "Hey, where's that food gonna go?" And they said, "Well, it's gonna be thrown away. It's gonna be trashed." And in those moments, I really began to ask God and questions God love. God, you love us the same way. The others can have so much food to throw away, and others can die for lack of beans. I did not have a name until when I was 2 years old. Why? Because for every 100 children who were born in my village, 60 would die before the age of 2. So most moms didn't name their kids because they didn't want to get attached that quickly until they were 2. So at 2, she named me a gift given to me by God. So for me, in those moments, watching how that food was thrown away, I began to say, the God of the Bible, I'm not sure I relate with that. The others can have that much. You did Matthew 25, right? You did this week. This is the reality of my life. On Monday, you skipped lunch and had for breakfast, and tonight you're having rice and beans. That's what you did on Monday. For me, in my entire life, from the age of 0 to 17, I had never had 2 meals a day. My family could not afford beans and potatoes. Today we had beans. The next day, we had potatoes. In 365 days, the only 2 days I had a different meal was Christmas. Christmas, we had chicken. So I grew up thinking Christmas was all about chicken. But also as a child, men ate first, moms and the children last. So even that chicken didn't get to me. And on Easter, we had beef because I grew up in a Roman Catholic family. At the end of Lent, we would have beef. Those are the only 2 days in 365 days I had a different meal. On Tuesday, drank only water. As a kid, I had go to fetch water 3 to 4 miles away every day, twice a day. And you come home after those hours and there's nothing to eat. You had to practice for 1 day. To me, that was every day of my life. Even that water, we could not drink it because it wasn't clean enough to drink. On Wednesday, you slept on the floor. All my life, from the age of 0 to 16, I had never slept on a mattress because we could not afford a mattress. This is just the reality of what I'm sharing, of what you had to experience for a week. On Thursday, you wore the same clothes you wore yesterday. From the age of 0 to 16, I had one pair for Monday to Saturday and one for Sunday. Never had a pair of shoes until when I was 16 years old. On Friday, reach out to someone going through a difficult time. Today, for me and for the children in Tanzania, it's the day you're reaching out to us, that you're willing to travel to Tanzania with your wife, to see them, to hear who they are. On Saturday, you're going to take 30 minutes, while for you on Wednesday, when you go to see them, you're going to pray for them, and on Sunday, you're going to come back. So for me, that is why I struggled understanding how much food was thrown away. It's not to guilt you, but it's show you the reality of what most of us, especially in Tanzania and Uganda, the difficulty we go through every day. So then, now that I could have 5 meals, I was like, wait, can I have more? And I began to have more. And then I would visit American families in Los Angeles. And some families had like 6,000 to 10,000 square footage house. And there were only 2 people that lived in that house. And then I would say, what do you use the bedrooms for? No, for just 2 of us. The average house in Tanzania is as big as your 1-car garage. And in that home, there's between 6 to 14 people that live in that space. And so for me, I thought, wait a minute. I can have 3 meals a day, every day, and I can have an extra bedroom. What am I going to do with that blessing? So for me, Luke 12:48 really convicted me. It says, from everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. For me, I knew as you listen to my story, I am the wealthiest human being on the planet, to be honest. And in those moments, I said, God, now that I can have 3, what should I do? This is what I did. I walked into the foster care system and I asked the lady, hey, is there a way you could allow me to mentor teenagers? The reason why I asked to mentor was I had never seen any male who was a foster parent. So I thought, they can give me 2 days. Come on, 2 hours to help these teenagers? But the social worker who received me said, have you ever thought of being a foster dad? I said, I think about that every day, but I'm not qualified. And she said, why? I said, I'm single. She said, well, 30% of our single moms who are foster parents are just moms. You can be. So that day I signed up to be a foster dad, to leave Luke 12:48, to whom much is given, much is required. That I could not have an extra bedroom and knowing there's a kid in my neighborhood that had nowhere to go and call that house a blessing. So since then, I've had 44 children, and right now I have 6, and I would like to show you the picture of what my family looks like. I take in emergency kids, but they never leave. They come and never leave. So that's my kids, and then we have 2 dogs, Simba and Rafiki, are my dogs. The reason my kids are all Caucasian, so I needed something African, every day. Yeah, so Simba and Rafiki are our dogs. They are therapy dogs that we don't pay for. Next. This little one, I just adopted him last year. When I received the phone call, they said there's a boy who's 4, needs a home. I said, sure, I can take him for a day. And then social workers usually are not honest. They pause and they say, and there's a sister. I had already said yes. I said, sure. And then now I have a sister as well. The moment she walked in my home, she is the boss of the house. I'm telling you, she paints my nails when I'm looking at laundry piling up, She works on my hair. I have no hair. In her mind, I have long hair. And she's taught me 2 things. To love my mom and my sister and any female that I'll ever meet on the planet because of her love and care. Next. In foster care, I didn't know that once you have siblings, when another sibling comes, they call you, hey, there's another one. And I said, how old? They said, 9 months. I'm like, oh, no, I don't take little ones. But hey, she's a sibling, so she's now 3, and I have not slept in 1 year and a half. Next. This one came to me. He was 16, and they wanted him to age out. So they said, we need 12 months. I said, I'll take him. And once he came to me, 4 weeks, he said, hey, Dad, I want to talk to you. When a teenager tells you, Dad, I want to talk to you, you always think, jail, pregnant someone, the police on the way, like something bad happened. But his voice said, he said, I have been in more than 16 families, and everyone promised to adopt me, and no one did. Would you be my dad? And so he's my 20-year-old son now. Say, next. I take emergency and also I take respite. Respite means you're taking a child, just need a short time. He was dropped at the hospital. He came into the foster care at 1.5, dropped at the hospital at 11. Why? Because the family that had adopted him for 9 years dropped him, never say goodbye, and never gave him a reason why they didn't him. So he's my first adopted son, Anthony. Next. I wanted to show you where I come from. That's a picture taken from some of my relatives and also the kids you're going to meet in Tanzania. I just wanted to give you a picture. A lot of smiles. Though they have so little, they are truly joyful. Next. Well, here you go to the grocery store. For us, most of the time, this is how we get food. Sell potatoes here, buy salt next window. So as you watch that or as you listen, you might say, Peter, how do you do that? A single dad, you come from that far. Do you have time to sleep? Well, I'll be honest, yeah, there's no time to sleep. And this is when I'm going to tell you my story on how the kindness of a stranger changed my life in so many different ways. I was born in a place where life was miserable in every shape form you could imagine. Grew up in a place where no one told me to dream or to be hopeful. Here's why. If a mom cannot feed you for a night, how does she tell you to dream? As I said, one meal every other day. Grew up in a home where I had to go fetch water that far, twice a day. Kids in Tanzania, today, they went to fetch water that far. I had one pair of shoes, or didn't have any at all until 16 years old. Never seen anything that resembled a toy. My family could not afford $5. $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 to send me to school. Tell me, how do you dream? And then at the age of 4, I began to realize that not only were poor, but my dad was the most abusive human being you could imagine. So poverty on one side, but there was nowhere to hide because where you could hide was the most mean and every abuse you could think of. But also, this is what I had from my dad every time I went to bed and when I woke up. Peter, you'll never amount to anything. Peter, you're useless and worthless and nobody. Peter, I wish you were never born so I did not have to feed you. How do you want to wake up tomorrow if that's what you hear every day? And then the worst part was my mom. My mom got the same abuse. And here's how she got the abuse. Every time we're hungry, and she would tell Dad, hey, the kids haven't eaten. Would you give them to eat? She got beatings for that. So as a kid, you hold the guilt. You don't want to tell your mom I'm hungry because you get the end of it. How do you dream? How do you want to see tomorrow if that's your everyday life? And so at age of 10, I thought my father was going to kill me, but I was like, no, I'm not going to give him an opportunity to kill him. Like this one, I can do it myself. And so I ran to the bus station and I asked the lady, hey, of all these buses, which one goes the farthest? But my whole idea was I wanted to die, but I would never give my opportunity for my father to bury me. So that's why I asked the farthest. So I got on that bus and I ran away and I ended up in Kampala, 500 kilometers away from my village. I didn't know what to do, but I had one option. That one option was to be a street kid. So I became a street kid at the age of 10. You might say, what was the abuse like? It's hard to explain to you the abuse on the streets. Think of it this way. Treated more like a stray animal. That's what people treated us as street kids. We're garbage. We looked like garbage anyway, so they had a right to call us whatever they wanted to. I slept in the sewer. Why the sewer? Because it smelled so bad that no human beings can go. But for us, it was the safest place we can be. And that was my life with more than 3,000 kids on the streets of Kampala. And that became my life. As street kids, we learned how to steal or how to survive. Steal while you're helping. We couldn't steal money because most people didn't make $1 a day, but would steal food while we're helping people carry food. You take one banana, they won't know. And so one day, I saw a man who was buying food. This is how we knew you can afford food. You're wearing glasses, you're wearing khakis, and have shoes. We knew you can afford food. So today, if you're wearing glasses, you have khakis on, watch out for your wallet. I might take it with me. And so I followed him. And as soon as he bought his food, I carried it. He said, hey, put my food down, please. And so I put the food down. And he followed by saying, hey, What is your name? That rattled me. Why? Because for 5 years, no one human being had ever asked me what my name was. This is emotional for me, for you, Keith and your wife. That you're going to Tanzania. Yes, you're going to bring all the pictures, but you're going to walk in their village. You're going to eat their food. You're going to hug their grandparents, and you're going to show up. And that's why that song really touched me. That you said yes for them. And that's why he asked my name, so he gave me food, he left. Next week comes back. The fourth week I kind of know, what do you buy, where you park your car, and how can I get this food for nothing? And so I would always show up, and he would always call me by my name. And so he fed me for 1 year and a half, and one day he said, hey, Peter, if you have an opportunity to go to school, would you love to go to school? I laughed so hard because I thought he was the stupidest human being ever. Sorry for the bad language. But think about, you are a garbage boy, you live in the sewer, you stink and smell, and you're a thief, and no one wants to be close to you. And someone says, would you like to go to school? It's like me asking you, all of you, hey, they're sending people to the moon. Who would like to go? Like, how many of you go to bed saying, I want to go to the moon? Why? Because it's far-fetched. To me, as a street kid, abused in every shape, every night, no, I have no hope to go to school. I didn't know how to pray, but I knew one prayer I can pray for. God, take my life today. So I said no. And so he comes back next time. He said, hey, if you go to school, there'll be lunch, dinner, and breakfast. Literally, I said, what time do we leave? When do we go? Because I thought only in heaven you can have 3 meals. Only in heaven you can have 3 meals. Because I had never had 2 meals ever. And so I went to school, not to be a teacher, not to be anything, but because he said there's food. But also, he didn't call me a thief. He didn't call me a nobody. He didn't see a smelling teenager. He saw a little boy with potential. And I didn't even know that I had potential. And for the first time, I felt I was a human being for once. And that's why I went to school. Not to be a teacher, not to dream, but for the first time, I was a human being. So I went to school. On the way there, I asked, but why me? There's 3,000 kids in Kampala. Why me? And he said, I just want to be faithful. City View, you are faithful. Pastor Keith. You are faithful. Because he was faithful, I went to school. I went to high school, went to university in Uganda, went to university in England. And that's how I came into the United States, through the kindness of a stranger. Because he was faithful, my entire family, I'm the oldest of 5. My family, my siblings have all gone through university. Not because they could do it, but because they saw, if Peter can do it, we can do it as well. And that's something I love about World Vision, that when you sponsor one child, 4 more kids get help. Because we put water in the community, every child is not benefits from that water. When we put a school, all the kids go to school. When we put hospital, every kid has an opportunity in that village to go to school. That's why I did my family. Because he was faithful, my family came to know the Lord as their Lord and Savior. Why? For my mom, it's like, how can a stranger love my child as theirs? As you get to sponsor these kids, they're going to write to you. You're going to write back to their moms. They're going to ask, why someone somewhere in Texas will love my daughter that much? Some of the girls, they get married at the age of 12, 14. Not because they don't like them, but just so someone else can feed their girl. That's why they get married. But for you saying, hey, we want to sponsor this child, that stops that. Because now they can go to school. Because mom and dad can say, now you can go to school. Because he was faithful, I got to know the Lord as my Lord and Savior. For me, it was hard to understand the Bible. The Bible says, forgive even those who've wronged against you. To me, I'm like, no. There's my father over there. No. He does not belong in any category to be forgiven. Do you know what I wanted to do? I was 19 now. I wanted to go back home and break my dad's 2 legs. And after say, now I forgive you. But my sponsor taught me the life of someone special. He always told me the life of Joseph. Joseph was sold by his brother, but when they found he was alive, they were afraid that they're going to die. This is what he said. He said, for what you meant for evil, God used it for good to save a life. And that's been really my motto, to use that as a foundation to help myself, but also to not let the past define my future, but rather use it for good for others as well. I'm a foster dad. Yes, I have an extra bedroom. Yes, I have resources, absolutely. But he taught me what a father ought to be. Because for me, I thought every father beats his wife. Every father beats their children. But he didn't do that to me. And so he taught me how to love unconditionally. And that's why I'm a foster dad that loves their biological parents, no matter where they come from, to love them as who they are and be there for them because someone that did that for me. So now you see why I'm the wealthiest human being on the planet. From everyone who's been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who's been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. I have been entrusted with much. So much. So much. And for us who live in the United States, we have been entrusted with much. He helped me understand the Bible even better. Matthew 25, 35 to 6. For I was hungry, you gave me food. He gave me food. Every time he came, when he put him in school and when he brought me his home. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. As street kids, we have no place to drink water because every water was contaminated and it was sewer. But he always gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. He didn't know where I came from. We didn't speak the same language. But he took me in as his own son. I was naked, you clothed me. He gave me my first pair of shoes. I was sick, you visited me. Every time I was sick, took me to the hospital. I was a prisoner, and you came to me. As a street kid, I felt I was in prison, but he took me in. That's why I'm passionate about you and your wife getting on that plane to Tanzania. To give them the best that sometimes nobody has seen in them. To see them as kids and to give them opportunity to choose something they've never been able to do. And that's what I love about World Vision. They thought about how can we give digging to the kids so they are able to choose. Think about the kids in Tanzania you're about to meet have never been able to choose a meal, a pair of shoes, or clothes because they have one. They have not three choices of food. They have one. But for the first time, you get to give them an opportunity to walk in that tent and choose who they want them to be their sponsor.